Well, here we are, January 1st, a new year. It's funny because everyone that has wished me a new year always follows it up with, I hope this year is better. But I think we all say that every year. And I think the reason why we say it every year is because every year, the year that we just went through was worse than the previous year. Things aren't getting any better, they're getting worse. And they're supposed to. That's what the time of sorrows is all about. I've been doing a lot of thinking about everything, and I think that I need to explain something about what I'm involved with and heaven's place in all of this. I will admit, when I first got involved with doing what I did, what I'm doing, trying to take down these child traffickers, and using the stuff that I was trained to do at the very beginning, especially right out of the abuse, for me, it was about vengeance. Simple, nothing but vengeance. When I got away, I wanted these child killers to be hurt in the worst way. And that's the only thing I cared about. That's the reason why I eventually went to heaven and offered my body and soul to all of this. And the whole I needed to get them to rise up and strike me down, there's more that goes to that. I needed them to rise up and make my life a living hell. And they have. They have. I'm 59 years old, and this group has done nothing but make my life a living hell. My father and stepmother were just the beginning after my family forced me to light that dude on fire when I was 10. All of the shit that I went through in Hummel Park and off at Air Force Base up to the age of 10, they they still are at it. I mean, they break into my house whenever they want. They steal shit, brag about it. They've murdered my friends, Isaac Cappy, Owen Wingert, and they brag about it. Doug Mesner, aka Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, just bragged about all of the shit he was doing to me the other day. Now, yesterday, he wanted to backtrack and he wanted to tell me, I would have been nicer to you if you had been nice to me. Oh, really? I'm not killing your friends. I'm not making videos of your house burning down or you being lynched. I'm certainly not coming into your town and passing out flyers, doxing you with your picture, calling you a pedophile, and encouraging people to show up at your house. I'm not doing any of that. That's what they've done to me. But I needed them to make my life a living hell because, as it is said, you reap what you sow. And I had to get them to sow all of that crap. For me, it was about vengeance. I just want to point out, though, for God, it for heaven, it never was. It still isn't for heaven. For heaven, it's about healing. Let me explain. These people, we're at the end. What were we told people would be like? Liars, thieves, self satisfied, full of want, just full of dark. And as far as heaven is concerned, evil is a virus that infects mankind's soul. That's what it is. It doesn't infect the heart, it infects the soul. People who are involved with all of this evil shit, talking shit about people, stealing from them, murdering, fucking whoever they want, whenever they want, doing whatever nasty thing that they can do and say and think. It's because of the evil that's inside of their heart. People who have love in their heart don't talk shit about people, don't steal, don't murder, don't rape, don't traffic kids, don't do any of the nasty shit that they're doing. So evil infects man's soul. And so heaven has devised the dark in order to be the catalyst to heal these idiots. Because you spend an eternity in the dark where there is no God and evil rules. You'll, after an eternity of the dark, you won't be focused. You'll do everything you can to avoid evil. It is the antidote to evil, the dark, and the eternity in the dark that they're going to spend. What they've done to me, I'm isolated. They have me so fucking broke. People are saying, oh, well, go get a job. Look at what they've done to me, and I don't have a job. You think they're going to not go to my whatever employment I get? They go to volunteer things. They've passed flyers around town. I will say it's interesting. I was told that the deputies, Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross and his deputies in the department, they were the ones hanging the flyers around town. When you consider what has now come out about Mike Butler, the younger brother of Chad Butler, second in command, Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Captain Chad Butler, again, you reap what you sow. They wanted to make everyone think that I was a pedophile. I'm not a pedophile. But heaven took that and decided to bring all their pedophile shit out into the open. And now people in town not only know that Mike Butler is a pedophile and the sheriff is protecting them, but Mike Butler's parents just went after their granddaughter and threatened her to shut the fuck up. And everyone in town knows it. That's how it works. Heaven's in charge of all of this. I just did what I'm supposed to do. They're directed energy weapons, making my life a living fucking hell. It's hell living with this shit aimed at me constantly. And whether or not people believe me or not, what the fuck difference does that make? Their ignorant ass opinions, what, does that change anything? They don't believe it because they don't want to believe it because they don't want to be accountable for anything. But they do that for everything. You know? Someone who comes forward and says that they've been abused, look at the fucking kids who were being raped. Mike Butler was having sex with kids. What did people in the town do? Not a damn thing. You know? So, I don't know. I just, I think that we're at the end. In fact, I know we're at the end. Everything's crashing down. Everything is crashing down. And we are being led by an idiot who is so narcissistic. He is the biggest snowflake ever. This little whole vendetta campaign that he has against all the people who've spoken out about him. Talk about a little bitch, you know? And all the people who think that, oh, it's okay. And no one really cared until it started hurting their finances. We're in a situation where everyone is consumed with want. Entitled, you know? It's just, it's crazy. How many have I read? What have I read? I read a lot. I'm just saying that God is dealing with it. And things are about ready to get bad. I can't tell you how many books I've read. A lot. I'm well read. You know? I was what they called for a long time a professional student. I went to college for a lot of years. Only because I liked to learn. I still do. You know? The sun and the radiation and the plasma that the sun is hitting us with is having an effect on not only the geomagnetic forces on the planet, but the plates. It's heating everything up. Oh, Trump was sent by God, but not in the way they want. Trump isn't here to save anybody. Trump, I believe, is the false prophet. He's gotten everybody to celebrate their hate. People like him because he hates the same people they hate. They say that all the time. That's the false prophet, leading them right into the abyss. That's how it's working. And he's not the only false prophet. At the end, there'd be a lot of false prophets getting people to hate. You know? And that's the case. Am I the most loving person? No. Because it's hard to be under these attacks and be loving. And I'm loving and kind to people. But when I focus on this pedophile group, trying to bring them down, love is not what I feel for these child killers. Anger. I believe righteous anger, personally. And I want to bring him down. He was never considered for a Nobel Peace Prize. He's never been considered. He's starting all kinds of wars right now. And he's putting his name on everything. The dude is a tyrant, a dictator. And the people who follow him, he got you to even put the mark on your forehead. You wore the mark on your forehead willingly. What do you think those hats are? What, do you think they were going to hold everyone down and tattoo people on their foreheads? He got you to wear the mark on your forehead. And they celebrate hate. You know? No, he was never considered for a Nobel Peace Prize. He's gotten mad because he was never considered. He was nominated by his sycophants. It didn't go anywhere. He was nominated by people who want to kiss his ass. But I'm not here to argue about Trump. The dude's about ready to die. He's unhealthy as it is. You can't not sleep all night and rage tweet every single night. Be as his age, the way he eats, and live for very long. Anger takes a lot out on a person. He was nominated by one of his sycophants. It went nowhere. But his cult will follow him right into the fucking abyss. He was never considered. He was never considered. They didn't even consider him. That's why he's so angry. But I'm not going to argue about it. You go ahead and be a cult member and follow him and argue and think that all the hatred and the derision and the wars that he's getting us to be involved with, because that's how it works in the end. Only a few get saved. Only a few get saved. As far as Isaac Cappy, do I think that anything with Isaac Cappy is going to be investigated? No. Any more than I think that anything with this nothing's going to come out of this Jeffrey Epstein thing. They're just feeding your sense of entertainment. Nothing's going to come out of it. Nothing has come out of it. Not even yet. Not even now. All the years that this has gone on, not a damn thing has come out. Oh, other than Maxwell being moved into a luxury prison that we should also be lucky to be involved with. Make your meals, cater to you, let you exercise, don't pay any bills. You just have the freedom to do whatever the hell you want. We're being led by crazy people. I didn't get drunk last night. I was in bed. But again, these people that are in here arguing, their hearts are not filled with love. They like the hatred. They like the hate. They like bad things to happen to people that they hate. But they're the first ones who will be right in line thinking that they need to be saved. You know? I was with people who were just involved with the same shit as Jeffrey Epstein. I was never involved with Jeffrey Epstein. I was in the pre Jeffrey Epstein shit. This stuff has been going on for a long time. Jeffrey Epstein is just one of many. That's how I know what was going on in that temple that they never talk about on the island. You know, he trafficked 1,000 girls, no boys. I guess boys never get trafficked. That's what they want to let everyone think. Boys never get trafficked. That hasn't been my experience at all. That hasn't been my experience. But they'll tell people whatever they think you want to hear in order so that you can placate yourselves and not feel accountable for anything. But when you sit on your hands and just let evil happen and you do nothing, you say nothing, it makes you complicit. And there is accountability that goes with that, whether or not you want to admit it or not. It's funny because every survivor that's involved with this, every survivor that is involved with this, dude, I'm not playing any games today. I'm just not in the mood to play games. I'm so not in the mood to play games. It's a new year. And for me, I'm going to continue doing what God wants me to do, which is still focusing on this pedophile bullshit and trying to expose it. Only because it makes these idiots, they'll gravitate to greater and worse heights. They will. They have already. They have already. You know? Oh my God, you're an idiot. You're right. Everyone should just sit back and take all of your shit and think, you know, I have an influence. Trust me, these motherfuckers wouldn't be on top of me if I hadn't had an influence. That's the problem that they have. Is that I've had quite the influence on all of this stuff. But see, they're not even original. Because what I said a few lives ago is that the person that they needed to convince that I wasn't who I say I am was me. It doesn't make any difference what any idiot and their uneducated opinions, their opinions don't make any difference. They don't matter. And so now, as unoriginal as they are, now they're going to try and say, oh, well, you have no, you know, I don't know a Cameron. All of this stuff has been a pain in my ass. It's been awful. And they have made my life a living hell, which was heaven's objective all along. Heaven needed me to get them to do it. That's what heaven needed me to do. Heaven is the one who told me to start opening up my comments again because the comments on my YouTube videos were locked down tight for a long time. I didn't let anybody comment. Didn't like anybody like. Didn't let anybody do anything. You know? And then I journeyed and was told that I needed to open up comments and start talking about Isaac Cappy. And now, the stuff with Isaac Cappy, I thought Doug Mesner was bad. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, who will do all kinds of stupid shit and say all kinds of stupid shit like he's untouchable. And then when you call him out, then his whole argument is, well, you can't hold me accountable because I'm a liar. He says that about himself. He's a liar. So you can't hold him accountable for anything. And I like I said, I didn't read his emails yesterday. I just blocked his ass and blocked every single email. But when I went to go block it, the first line of one of his emails was, I would have been nicer to you if you were nice to me. Dude, you traffic kids. You're not going to get any love from me. You know? You're not going to get any love from me. All of you who want to go out and show the pedophiles love, go for it. But that's a bandwagon I'm just not willing to jump on. And the only reason you're doing it is because they're doing it to someone else's kids. But I could be wrong. Shit. Mike Butler's parents just went after their granddaughter and threatened her to shut up. That's blood right there. And it's all over town. Everybody in town is talking about it because everybody knows about it. My parents sold me into it, sold my older brother and sisters into it. You know, some people shouldn't be parents. You know, some hand their kids over. Omaha, Nebraska is where I was, but it's been going on in a lot of places. You know, a lot of places. And some just hand over their kids so that they can fit into this little group because they like the evil. And this group thinks that they're powerful because they all protect each other. Doug Mesner is protected by the group he serves. But when that group doesn't have power anymore, he's not going to have any authority. He's not going to have any power. He's untouchable because the people that he works for protect him. But when they can no longer protect him, or even more fun, when they turn against him because he's a liability, he's going to find out how powerful he's not. He'll never admit it, especially not to me. None of them will admit it to me. I don't need him to. I know the truth. And it's interesting because they can say whatever they want, but with all of this stuff, I have certainly had quite the effect. They want to say that I just have a little YouTube channel and nothing I've done has had any effect. But if that's the case, why are they so obsessed with me? You know? If I was just some crazy liar on YouTube, why even give a shit about what I say? But they do. Obviously. They chase my tail, not the other way around. I don't even watch their shit. Tara Joyce has posted. I don't even bother to look anymore. It's a new year, and I've had things that I've had to get done. People that I've been helping. You know? They won't blackmail me. There's nothing to blackmail me on. There's nothing they have. Trust me, for years and years and years, they've looked. There's nothing. But when you consider the fact that I was raised to believe that I was going to be the vessel for the Antichrist, and I didn't want to be the vessel for the Antichrist, and was doing everything I could to not be the vessel for the Antichrist, it wouldn't make a lot of sense if I was doing a lot of creepy criminal shit. You know? But I didn't want to be the vessel for the Antichrist. They can do AI deepfakes all they want, and they are. Jesse Davis's wife, Paula Davis, is posting videos imitating my voice with AI. Thomas Schoenberger has been reporting and sending the videos to me, but fuck, I don't care. Let him. I just send out the videos so that people can watch them, because that's not what I say. I only post on my shit. I only post on my channel. If there's posts on everyone else's channel, you need to investigate them to where it came from, because it didn't come from me. But they're already posting AI fakes. They're already imitating my voice on AI, saying, and I don't know what they're doing. I don't care. To be quite honest, I don't give a shit. Jesse and Paula Davis. Paula Davis's brother is in jail for 47 years. For what? Fucking kids. Paula Davis runs the barely legal porn production. It makes me wonder if the 11 foster kids in their house are anywhere involved in that. Tara Joyce, Sewer Town, all of this bullshit, because they don't believe in God and they believe they're more powerful than God. Someone just asked, how can they not be in, why are they not in fear of God's wrath? That's the problem. That's what God is going to give them in the darkness. Spend an eternity in the darkness. They will get a good, healthy fear of God, because fear can be a healthy thing. And fear of God, it is better to tie a millstone around your neck and drown yourself in the ocean rather than hurt a child. But they don't believe that. They believe that they are gods. They believe they're way more powerful than God. Doug Mesner thinks he is God. Oh my God. The dude's ego is just how he fits anybody else in a room with him, and his ego is beyond me. They don't care. They're ignorant. The evil has infected their souls. Oh, come on, Katie. They don't know what they're doing. So the devil's making them do it. They're totally oblivious to what they're doing. When they're fucking a kid, they don't realize they're fucking a kid, killing those kids at Hummel Park. They didn't realize that they were killing kids. They were in a trance. Didn't seem like that to me. Didn't seem like that when they were gang raping me. Didn't seem like it. Seems like they know exactly what the fuck they're doing. Just my opinion. In my personal experience with the shit, what my father and stepmother and sister Cindy and my, all of them, when they made me light that dude on fire, you're absolutely right. They were clueless. Me, as a 10-year-old, I was responsible. I guess I knew what I was doing when Joanne handed me that match after my dad doused him with fucking charcoal fluid. As a 10-year-old, I was responsible, but they were fucking delusional. Just didn't know what was going on. In a trance. The devil made him do it. It's bullshit. You remember what I just said about that whole making excuses and sitting on your hands and justifying evil? It will not work well for you. They knew exactly what they're doing. The darkness is here to hold them accountable. The evil in the world is not happening because people are in a trance and don't know what fucking evil shit they're doing. Doug Mesner doesn't know what he's doing. He seems quite aware to me. Read our conversations. You can just go to davidshurter.com and read our conversations. He seems very aware of what he's doing. But then I lived it. I think they're all really aware. They made their choices. They made their choices. But people can excuse the fucking child killers all they want. But again, it's not a bandwagon I'm fucking jumping on. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon, fucking excusing the fucking child killers. Oh, well, they didn't know what they were doing. You know? Then don't fathom it. But I was there with their rituals while they were slicing and dicing kids. They're aware. Well, you're right. Heaven is a self-indulgent parent. They're not responsible for the evil they do. God will just embrace them. Isn't that what we were told? No one gets held accountable for anything. You're not held accountable. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Do whatever evil you want. Do whatever you want. That's what the fucking Luciferians preach. Do whatever the fuck it is you want. Nothing matters. God will just excuse it. You're not responsible. The devil made you do it. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. They murder people, you know? You're right. When Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth came in and murdered fucking Owen, they didn't know what they were doing. They drove here in a trance. They posted live videos in YouTube bragging about murdering Owen and being here in town, but they were in a trance. They're not responsible. Tara fucking Joyce isn't responsible for anything she fucking does or says. Not responsible at all. The child traffickers, they're not responsible. But those fucking kids, those victims, they all got what they had coming for them because they're the ones at fault. I'm not arguing this because it's an irritating argument. And it's wrong. Go ahead and murder someone and then go into fucking court and tell the judge the devil made you do it. See how it works for you. You know? Katie, I'm not blocking you, but I'm not going to argue with you today. You're absolutely right. They were in a trance. They don't fucking know what they're doing. Everyone who's doing evil shit is just oblivious to evil. It's the devil. Oh my God, that argument is stupid. So all the pedophiles who are fucking kids, they're not responsible for fucking those kids. They're not responsible. They're in a trance. Not going to argue with it. If that's what you want to believe, enjoy the dark. Making excuses for evildoers and the shit that they do is not going to serve anybody well. That's just my opinion. It's not going to happen. Well, like I said, just judging by the conversation, you think that the evil that's in this world and all of the nasty shit that's happening, none of it has changed today. It's the same as it always has been. So you can tell yourself that this year is going to be better. But just by looking at the conversation in here, nothing's changed. People don't even want shit to change. They're okay with the evil. They're okay with it. They're okay with it. Fuck, no one's responsible for anything except survivors. People, victims from that. I guess that the fucking murdered kids that I experienced when I was a kid, they're responsible. But the fucking ones who were slicing and dicing them while they were screaming, they're not responsible. They were in a trance. The devil made them do it. If that's what you need to tell yourself to sleep better at night, trust me, there's not much to do in the dark but sleep. So with that said, it's a new year. This one's going to be no better than the other one. The hatred is still alive. And now everyone's like, oh, well, no one's responsible for it. The devil made us do it. Maybe we should just empty out all the fucking prisons then. All of the fucking rapists and murderers and all of that. The devil made them do it. They're not responsible. So let them out. That's what's happening anyway. You know? We're after Venezuela because they're drug dealers dealing fentanyl. And yet Trump just let off one of the biggest goddamn cocaine dealers who wanted to choke America with the cocaine. Yeah, because it's all about fighting drugs, you know? That's exactly it. The devil made me do it. Sure he did. Tell that to God. He gave you the choice, and you chose poorly. You chose wrong. And the dark is hell. That's exactly where it is. And the reason why it's dark is because there's no God there. No God. No light. No fire, because there's no fire and no light. There's no heat. You'll burn, but not the way you think. Cold burns too. But people are going to do whatever they're going to do anyway. And they're going to justify it and make excuses for everything all the way up until the end. And then when they're held accountable, they're going to cry like little bitches and say that they're not responsible. Nothing will be different than it is right now. It'll be the same thing. Only God doesn't change, and we were told there were consequences for our choices. Just because we live in a society now where no one seems to face any consequences, unless, of course, you're poor, or you're gay, or you're a different color, or you're a woman, anything other than what is the acceptable, you know. Things are not going to be better this year. They're not. You can hope all you want. You did last year. What changed and made things better? The year before, what changed and made things better? The year before that, what changed and made things better? That's the reason why every year we're saying, well, I hope the next year is better than the last. But it never is. And God isn't a fairy godmother. God's not going to wave the magic wand and excuse evil. You know? So, with that said, you know, just, God, there's some stupid people in here. More wars, more debt, more chaos. More fucked up weather, more of the government's going down. War is coming. War is coming. You know? Hope is one of the three ways we receive grace. But grace that isn't appreciated goes nowhere. God can give you all the grace you want. If you don't accept it and act accordingly, what good is it? You know? When I was singing at the Catholic Church in Harlan, I got into a fight with a friend who was Catholic, saying that I had to go to a priest before I could go into the church and confess all my sins and get forgiveness from a priest. Well, we all know the background of the Catholic Church. So I said, okay, so I get forgiveness from a priest, not saying that any of the priests around here were doing this. I was just speaking in general. But I said, okay, so you get forgiven by a priest who's going out and fucking kids, which has been a big thing in the Catholic Church. Does that forgiveness? So a pedophile who's doing all kinds of sin forgives you, and so that excuses you of your sins? How does that exactly work? You know? I'm saying there is behavior that goes with it. There's a saying, faith without works is dead. You can talk about faith all you want. But if you're excusing evil, even worse, inflicting evil, then your words mean nothing. Faith without works is dead. Jesus Christ himself said that. But then we only pick and choose. And so the Euphrates River, there's a super volcano in Europe that's getting ready to explode. There's a super volcano in Arizona that is now rumbling and getting ready to explode. Because of all of the plasma and the heat that the sun is inundating us with. And we're getting hit with things from the sun that we haven't gotten hit with before. And so it's going deeper into the Earth's core. You know? Right. God said one of the first people he's going to throw into hell are the people acting religious. Trying to get a good status, you know, talk like a saint. How did Shakespeare put it? Talk like, you know, present yourself as a saint, when in actuality you're a monster in your heart and your actions show that you're a monster. My father and stepmother were the loudest in church, despite the fact that we were in Hummel Park with my dad's group murdering kids the night before. That's how it worked. That's how it works. I've given myself so that this group could make my life a living hell. And they have made my life a living hell. They're hitting me with these directed energy weapons. They break into my house whenever they want. They threaten me. They threaten my dogs. They've isolated me. They murdered my friend Owen. I'm afraid to have friends because I'm afraid those people will get targeted. So I don't do it anymore. You know? I have a book, Rabbit Hole. You can go see my blog, davidshurter.com. There's a lot of information there. Rabbit Hole, Satanic Ritual Abuse Survivor Story. I don't have a copy of it here right now, and I don't want to go get one. But, you know, my father was involved with child traffickers. My family was involved with child trafficking. And if the devil made you do it, then I guess you don't have any reason to repent. What are you repenting for? If the devil made you do it, go do whatever the fuck you want to do. You're not responsible, you know? Live the word. Love God/life and love everyone else. That's how it works. We're to live the word. Religious. Well, which religion do you choose? If you're Christian, fuck, there's how many? 50, 1,000 different Christian things to go into, and everyone is the right one. Everyone will tell you. The Jehovah's Witnesses will tell you they're the right one. The Methodists will tell you they're the right one. The Mormons will tell you that they are the right one. I don't touch kids, asshole. But you're in here trying to defend fucking child killers. That's what it is. That's what it is you're in here trying, and I'm just going to take a picture because authorities are watching this shit. And that is an email address. They can connect you through your email address. You know? And the fucking pedophiles are in here all the time, trying to do whatever they can. Try to push it back on me. If I was a fucking pedophile, they would have figured it out long before now. It's not like they haven't been on top of me. More than once. Shit. It's Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross here in Shelby County. When I was in Algona, it was Ryan Miller. Algona policeman Ryan Miller working with the fucking pedophiles. But they're not responsible, right? Just the people who call them out. We're the ones who are responsible. You know? Victim blaming, victim shaming. Those words exist for a fucking reason. And it's all done by people who are okay with fucking pedophiles. Mega churches suck. Oh, God told me I'm going to be dead if you don't give me $70 million so I can buy a plane. That's what they're like. Joel Osteen. Give me all of your money. God will bless you if you give me all your money. Well, if that's true, why doesn't it work for that way for him? Why doesn't he give all his money away? Wouldn't God bless him? It doesn't work both ways? It doesn't work that way? He needs your money because God's not blessing him enough. But if you give him all your money, God will bless you. You know, Satan is in a lot of churches. Satan is everywhere. The evil shit is everywhere. We're in the last days. The time of sorrows. Being run by criminals. And people who love themselves. Who think they're so superior to everyone, including God. Doing all kinds of evil shit. While their evil little followers cheer them on. And I just don't think that the world is going to make a 180 and that's just going to change. That's just my opinion. Especially when people are saying, oh, well, the people who are fucking kids aren't responsible. They're in a trance. The devil made them do it. They're not responsible. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. So, with that said, we're in a new year. Happy New Year for what it's worth. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everything will take 180. Maybe money will rain down from the skies and the billionaires who are actually getting everyone to go at each other's throats will stop and peace will take over the planet and there'll be no more starvation and no more strife and everyone will get along and people will stop being dickheads to each other and murder will stop and just everything. It'll become paradise this year. You know? If that's what you believe, I have a feeling you're going to be sorely disappointed. But then that's just me. What the hell do I know? I just grew up with a bunch of Luciferians murdering kids, gang raping me. Now that I've been calling them out, making my life a living hell. But they're not responsible. You know? Everything that has been hidden in the shadows is now being drug out into the light. And why? Because we're at judgment. Because from what I've seen, Mike Butler, selling meth and fucking kids. People in town don't care. They don't care. They don't care. I gotta get off here, or else I'm gonna ruin my whole day. I didn't go out last night. I never go out. It was just another night. I was probably asleep at 6 o'clock. Been cleaning my house this morning. I'm gonna work on artwork. But I just wanted to come on here since it was a new year. But I don't think, oh, I think things are gonna change all right. I think they're going to continue getting progressively worse. That's what I think is gonna happen. For everybody. For everybody. Even those who think that only evil shit is gonna happen to the people they hate. You know? It's gonna get really bad. And I have a feeling it's gonna start getting really bad here very soon. And not one of our leaders anywhere in the world is gonna rise to save us. Because they're so busy filling their pockets with gold that they could give a shit less about the rest of humanity. And that's what's leading us. No wonder the younger generations are starting to take a stand, because their futures are bleaker than any time that's ever been. They have no hope. And who can blame them? But with that said, let me pray quick. Heaven, I come to you as your child with my little dark cloud today, just sick of all of this. They are making my life a living hell. And I know it's necessary. And I also realize that you will end up dealing with them. You always come through with your promises. And so I will continue doing what I'm supposed to do. And I will continue calling out the child traffickers who I think know exactly what they're doing and do it with full intent. They do their evil crap with full intent. I don't think the devil has anything to do with it. That's just me. I know we're supposed to fill our hearts with love, but dealing with these child killers the way I have, especially the last few days, I'm exhausted and irritable. So I lay it all at your feet and ask humbly for your grace for all of your followers, including myself. And I say these things in your Son, our brother's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. So that's it. That's today's. You can wish for everything to get better. Wish in one hand, shit in the other. See which one fills up faster.